write about my more visceral experiences, just so I can like put my magic into a word, so it can be pushed through in a way that there's no image to create an inference or an interference pattern for your own judgments or whatever, or my own judgments. But I feel like this is something that, despite it's normally something I would write because it's very visceral, so come on over to my my blog at my website and check out my my newsletter if you're interested in my writing. But I'm going to try to translate something that is really something that I would normally write viscerally to you today, because I think it's as important that the people who are on my YouTube hear it as the people who are in on my list, which is this. Whoa! Okay. A lot of people could have a lot of judgments about the way that I was raised. And a lot of people could say you wouldn't deserve that or blah, 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 which is great. I appreciate it deeply. And I want you to know something. I was like 14 years old when I ate mushrooms and literally realized my mother is my Virgin Mary. And I called her in the middle of the night, like, oh my God, you are Mary Magdalene or whatever. Like, she was like all these Marys in my mind as this really big mother figure. And of course, I do all of the work that I do because the way that we are raised is the way that we believe our relationship with Creator is. And if you are raised by a narcissist, you believe that the universe, ultimately, and your relationship with it is going to be narcissistic. You're going to receive something and then take a punishment. Because vibrationally, based on the law of attraction, what you're used to in your attachment style and in your patternings is, oh, if I receive something, it's gonna cost me something. These are patterns that you only know about if you're raised this way, right? So this is not a demographic for the entire world. Some people are gonna go, you're absolutely insane. This bitch is nuts. I have no idea what she's saying, which is fair. And it took me a long time to realize that's actually true, right? There are people who do not frequent this frequency. So I believe that I am a creator of my own sovereignty, of my own experience, right? And I believe that I incarnated with my parents by choice, which could be something hard for some people to swallow. And I've always believed that, right? But it took me probably until I was like 35 to say, whoa, that experience I had about my mom actually being this everything, this nurturing everything, which doesn't, I'm not bypassing. Some people could say she's spiritually bypassing by like looking at her mother like this. I deeply believe that my mother's unconsciousness taught me the way to become conscious. And I deeply believe that the amount of focus that was required to be on her, right? So that vibrational energy, and I believe probably on a real serious level, I have ADD, even though I don't believe, and it's just like a construct of the way that you are, right? I don't think it's pathology, I don't think it's anything, but I definitely think that it's there. And the super hyper focus on top of that, right? The super hyper focus of always having to face somebody and always having somebody in my way. It's like playing basketball when you're constantly on defense your whole life. Like, dude, get out of my way. Like, why is this happening? Imagine, that's literally what it feels like to be raised by somebody like that. It's like you're in a basketball game on defense from the time that you're born, and every time you go to move, somebody's in your face, like getting in your space. And eventually, when you're a teenager, you're gonna be like, dude, I'm playing the game too. Like, get out of my way. So when you're raised like that, the defensiveness can make you feel suffocated. And then somebody could say, oh, she's, I'm spiritually bypassing because I actually have a really amazing resolve for the fact that I chose my mother. I love my mother. I feel still sad for her that her experience ended up being that which it was, but that's also exactly why I chose her. So when I was talking to a client yesterday, and I have a lot of clients that I work with where they cannot believe after the work that we do that they can have a relationship with their parent who at one point they were like, I can't, like, I have no idea what to do with this person. They're absolutely insane. But I love them, and I'm theoretically codependent on them, and I really don't, like, this isn't healthy for me. And they get to a place where they become centered, and that person who was their perpetrator stops perpetrating them, right? Because all of a sudden they're kind of in the game. They're like, yeah, I mean, if I'm on defense, I'm also going to be on offense sometimes. Like, this is going to be an entire room of this game. This isn't just going to be you and me here. I'm going to be looking out, and I'm going to see other things, not just you. So the required focus that was demanded of me taught me focus, right? It taught me to really dig in deep and in depth to personality. It taught me awareness of self-focus versus other focus, and that amazing focus that was created from living in that disorder is going to be the focus that helps me create everything outside of that disorder also, right? So in a way, it's like, it's not fair because the focus is always on this one person. But later on, when that streamlined focus goes, oh, you can go, oh, I know exactly how to focus on one person because I've done that my entire life, and I've taken care of 50 people in the process when I focused on that one person somehow. You can then go, oh, I can do that even with myself. I can actually invert that focus that's constantly out on you and go, okay, I'm going to be self-reflective. I'm going to use that focus to, when I choose to engage in the matrix of life, focus here so much that it expands this instead of focus on you so much that you expand into me, which is what it used to be, right? I'm going to give you space in myself so that you can expand into me. But when I am self-focused here, and that's not self-focused where I'm going, oh, I'm going to look behind your eyes to see what you see of me, because that's self-focused in an insanely codependent way, but also, like, let's look at what that means. It's like so image disordered. So a lot of codependents will sneak behind somebody else's eyes and go, hey, like, what is this person seeing in me? Let me shape shift to be what they want me to be, instead of really being in here and focusing on the experience that you're having, which is the experience of having an experience, period. A lot of us want to focus on something, especially if you were raised by narcissists, manipulate it, twist it, say it has to be different, and we can't just let it go, be what it is. And then that's what we inadvertently do ourselves, right? So if I focus on, I can go, oh, I hear the inner narcissist telling me I'm a piece of shit, telling me I should listen to this, telling me to shut up, I should stop myself, I'm going to get killed, they're going to see me, blah, blah, blah. And I can go, I can hear you, but I don't have to believe you. I can use the focus that I was taught to focus on this other person to inadvertently invert that focus on me, and then expand that focus in a way that is actually focused, not diffuse, not, when you're raised by narcissists, they don't know what their focus is. So they always are wanting you to look at them. And then we're going, I see you. What more do you want? Like, I don't really get what you want from me. And they're like, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. And we're like, I can't give you what you want because I literally, you don't know. I don't know. And then it's all crazy. But if I can expand from the inside out my focus of joy, my focus of seeing things clearly, my focus of being in a receptive state instead of a defensive state, if I can use the focus that I was taught so keenly to focus on some other person, to focus on myself in a way that is beneficial for everybody else around me, which is inevitably what it becomes, especially if you were raised this way, when you take that focus and focus on yourself, and you can actually go, oh yes, this is me, this is not me. That's something that's really important for us to know. We have to know. I always would take on everything. Oh yes, I'm that. In grad school, I would read all of these mental disorders and be like, I have every single one of them. Like, what, I'm literally, that's me, right? I would take on everybody's projection and go, oh yes, I could see myself like that. Oh yes. And now I can go, I'm so focused on what's true about me that's your projection. It's actually not me. I know what's not me now. Right? But it took me a really long time to get to that place. But it was because of choosing the mother that I chose and letting her not teach me, right? And getting to this place. I mean, I didn't really have any teachers. And this is even new for me. The sense of, like, I look out and I'm like, oh, people are talking about, like, narcissistic abuse and blah, blah, blah. I've been an adult. I've been a child parent, right? I was a parents since I was 18. I didn't even know people out there were talking about this. I didn't even know it was the thing, right? And now I'm like, oh my God, this is like a normal, quote unquote, normal thing. So it is in that frequency that I believe I chose to come here to experience hell on earth, which is what that frequency is, so that I can also awaken consciously to the experience that actually hell and heaven are in the exact same place. And I am a person, for my own contrast reasons, who has, by soul, I'm probably a pretty intense, sensational being by soul, chose the contrast, the extreme contrast. And right now, vibrationally speaking, I know that heaven exists on earth. I know that that is true. And I see people living it all the time. And then I also see, which I feel like I'm betraying these other people who are living in the hell on earth frequency and believe deeply in the hell on earth frequency, just like I did. And it is that choice that I chose to come in. I would be like, how can a mother not like her child? I mean, she didn't really have to like me, right? I had to get to a place where I was going to like me. She didn't like herself. How could she like me? I had to get to that place. I chose to come to this place. And if I believe anything different, I'm negating my sovereignty. I'm negating my soul saying, yes, you did this. Yes, you did this. Yes, you did this. Yes, you did this. And you will continue. And you will continue to expand and continue to expand. And the spiral will become more, and you will become more by your choice to incarnate with a frequency of less. I chose my insane mother to learn insanity like the back of my hand, so that I could teach her something different, so that I could teach myself something different, so that I could teach you something different. And if it weren't for that choice, like somebody the other day said, I can't believe that that happened to you, and I think people should really take tests before they can have children. Sure, I deeply get this, right? And if that were true, I wouldn't be here. A lot of people come from the contrast of literally knowing what hell on earth is like and going, oh wait, there's a whole new world out there, what? And we're intense AF, right? And we came for this experience. So if we keep diverting that, and it is insane, the way we were raised is insane, but if we keep diverting that attention to this person in a negative way, going, I am this way because they fucked me up, instead of I am this way because I chose to be this fucked up so that I could teach them a new way, which is the sovereign way to be in this dynamic, because there's no other way to be about it. You will be void in any other way of looking at it. You will have energetic holes that person will come into. So I am grateful I chose my mother. And if you believe that you are a creator of your reality, and you believe that you desire sovereignty, and you know that there is a potential to experience a vibration of, and a currency, a sustained currency. That's a big thing for us, right? Everybody, we want to grab it and keep it the second that we feel it, because we go, oh no, not a minute, not a minute of Satori, like I want the whole thing. No, we can sustain the frequency when we stop resisting that we're not in the frequency, first and foremost, and heaven exists on earth. And I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know the contrast of what that means to be able to really have the full encompassing earthly experience of human consciousness if I didn't choose the mother that I chose. And I'm going, vibrationally speaking, ideally, even higher places for myself, even more expansive places. I'm going to know myself in a different version of myself, which is going to be amazing. And if it wasn't for the contrast of absolutely knowing who I am not, because I was projected onto all of these things that I am, and then finally going, okay, I swallowed all of those illusions and projections, and then I regurgitated them, and that was very disgusting because I looked really bad when I did it. And then I sat with, okay, well, which ones might be true, which ones might not. And then at the end of that, I go, okay, these are not true. These are true. This is me. Okay, great. Do I want to transmute that? Do I want to keep it? Some of it I want to transmute, some of it I want to keep. And the rest, that is you, I'm going to leave out there to you. If it wasn't for the contrast of choosing the parents that I chose, I would not know the full human experience. I know the full human experience of consciousness at this point. And because of that, my Godhead, I am grateful for, right? My experience with my mother is different, but that's not the point of my work ever. My point is the family of origin heals itself. It gets better. when your relationship with creation gets better, because you look at your woundings from your family of origin and go, oh, no wonder why I have such a self-sabotaging tendency with life. No wonder why I get something good and all of a sudden something shitty happens. No wonder. Oh, duh. Right? When you can really get into alignment with your creator, which I personally don't believe you can do unless you really go through the throughway of the mother's womb, in a real serious bone-oriented way, where you're like, okay, I'm choosing to come to earth, I'm choosing to incarnate, I'm choosing to go through this woman. If you cannot get through the throughway, and I would say this is spiritually bypassing, going through, okay, I'm going to have this amazing relationship with the creator and cut off my parents. Yeah, I personally, I mean, some people do it. I'm going to probably get a lot of shit for it on this video. I personally don't think that's sustainable. It's not the throughway to healing lineages and lifetimes. It is a bypass. And I think that when we go to the throughway, we really embody the fullness of our relationship with creator, and that is the only work that we're here to do. And that is the point of attraction that changes everything. So if you're still blaming your parents, you can blame them for the circumstances, but as a soul, see what they taught you, because again, and I wrote this in Earn Your Luck, so please check it out if you haven't. We can say everybody's a teacher, which a lot of us say, everybody's my teacher. But we also, and that's a very codependent thing to say, if we're not also getting into a position and recognizing that if you are the creator, and this is really dangerous because a lot of us have felt like a narcissist's pawn, everybody is also your pawn. So as equally as my parents taught me I was shit and absolutely insane shit, I can now look at them and go, oh, you were a pawn in my learning on a soul level. I feel bad that you actually had to go through that to teach me that. It's like really weird to say, right? But our teachers are also our pawns. If we are seeing the paradox and rectifying the paradox of the human experience, and if we can get into position and recognize that, we have more equality in relationship with all of our teachers who are equally our pawns. And that in and of itself puts us on the ground and levels the playing field of life. So we know how to be in relationship, not with other people necessarily, but in relationship to ourselves with the relationship that we have with life ourselves. I hope this makes sense. I am Stacy Hoch, somatic embodiment coach, author of Imperfectly Sane and Earn Your Luck, a field guide for living beyond your narcissistic parents' wildest dreams. If you dig my content and it is serving you, share it, like it, subscribe. I'm so grateful that you're here. And if you'd like to get on my newsletter to check out the things that I would typically write about rather than speak about, it's stacyhoch.com. Bye guys, have a great day.